In this video today, I'm going to speak about ways that you can keep active over the holiday periods as a student. And when I speak about holidays, you've got Christmas and Easter. That is a tricky one. You might have exams coming up, you might have other assignments to focus on, so summer's a safer bet. Um, for me, I tried to use the summer as well as I could. I might be working part-time earning money, but I'd also try and keep my head in with sports science and find ways to get ahead of other people on my course. Now, one thing that I've mentioned a good few times in the channel already is networking, and I can't recommend it enough. I would suggest that over the holidays, you look for 25, 50, maybe 100, depends how much time you have, people in the industry. And I'd email all of them with your own specific questions or needs, whether it be advice or you're looking for a placement. And if they don't get back to you within a week, email them again. It's no problem. Send a very short, brief reminder email. If they don't reply after that second email, move on. That's why the numbers should be high. A lot of people email 3 or 4 people, give up. A lot of people won't reply. It's a numbers game. So be very ambitious with the amount of people that you contact. Next, I recommend learning a language because there are so many different places you can go, not just around mainland Europe, but further afield. So many different cultures, languages that you can immerse yourself in and use your sports science degree. With that in mind, then, I'd recommend that you look at job opportunities in other countries. There's plenty of things that you can do, not just in your hometown, your home country. There's plenty of places you can go to. And it is daunting learning a language. I know too well myself. But starting off with baby steps on Duolingo or very similar apps that just give you the basics of the language and don't feel really sort of overawed by all of it. I would spend just 15, 20 minutes a day just learning the basics of the language and then just move on and just slowly progress at your own pace. Next is textbooks. So journal articles, yes, we're always talking about that, but textbooks are a really good place to get the basic information. And as lecturers in week one, we typically give you a list of reading and give you an idea of certain books to read. But I've been a student. I know the reality that during the semester you've got deadlines. There's a lot of stuff to do. So the idea of reading a 1,000-page book on physiology, probably not going to do it, right? So what I'd say to you is look in your library, look at Amazon as well if you want to buy a book, and just take your time reading these books. Read 10, 15 pages a day. They're very text heavy. It might be a very new topic as well, so it can be quite difficult to get your head wrapped around it. And it's about the quality, not the quantity of the reading. So a few pages a day, take notes as well, let it sink in. I'd also recommend podcasts. Um, this is just one, the Pacey Performance Podcast. It's one of the more famous ones in sports science. There are so many out there though, and it's easy listening. It's something that you can do in traffic. It's something that you can listen to when you're in bed at night. So it's very easy, and I'd suggest not just Pacey Performance is one of the really good ones and well established, but there are plenty out there. So I'd look for 2 or 3 relevant ones in your area. Take your time to find the right ones, and yeah, listen to a couple a week. 1, 2 podcasts a week is enough. And again, it's one thing to listen to it, but take notes. Actually, try and absorb some of that information that you can from that podcast, and even drop that person an email as well if you're really interested. Typically, at the end of a podcast, they'll leave their social media details or an email address, something like that. So take the opportunity to speak to that speaker and again, just learn a little bit more. Another thing you can do is attend online conferences, webinars, and it's not just to learn, but also to network as well. It's a really good way to know who's in your field, who are the main players in that field of interest. And there are plenty out there that you can attend, but a good starting point for you to Google is UKSCA and BASES. They do a lot of online conferences with some of the biggest names in sports science, so I definitely recommend Googling both of these. So, as well as those two that I've mentioned, I would be very open minded using Google, using Twitter, scroll through, see what you can find in terms of other webinars. Attend 1 or 2 a month. There's something you can do in semester as well, but they can be time consuming. It can be 9 till 5, 2 days. So It's probably more feasible, and you also get quite a lot of these during the summer as well. And again, like the previous stuff, take notes, send emails. Don't just listen to it. Don't be a stranger. If someone's been really interesting to you and you've taken a lot from it, and you feel in your head, I can maybe work with that person in a couple of years, or it's a possibility, why not get in touch? Also, just coming on to the last couple of areas here, is software. So certain jobs do require, say, for example, performance analysis software. Could be using R, SPSS, some of the more basic Windows software as well. You're only really going to know that if you look at job adverts. I think you can be in your own bubble sometimes with a degree. You think, well, if I get a degree, that's okay. There's so much more you need. So I would look at job adverts and see, well, what do I need in addition to my degree? What software, what type of equipment do I need to be competent at using? Download the software if you can. I appreciate some stuff is can be expensive, but the free stuff or the cheaper stuff, go for it. Play around with it. It's one of those things. If you're in the early stages of your degree, the pressure's off. You won't need to use this properly for a couple of years. So I do it now. I download it now, mess around with it, make loads of mistakes, and in time you'll become really confident. But if you're in final year and you're trying to cram it all in, as well as your dissertation and everything else, you feel very pressurized to learn this stuff very quickly. So definitely do it as early as possible. But you're not alone. It's not just you staring at a screen trying to figure it out. There will be lots of YouTube tutorials for R, SPSS, using PowerPoint, Excel, etc., etc. If you do struggle to find tutorials in certain areas, it's a great chance to network. You can get in touch with someone in that field who works for a local team or company, whoever it is, and you can learn from them as well. I'd also recommend training as well. If you're going for something that's physical, so PT, gym instructor, S&C coach, etc., etc., train, get out of your comfort zone, do different types of training. You might be a big CrossFit aficionado, you're massive into your Olympic lifting, but don't be that trainer who's just obsessed with one aspect. Be very open-minded, and a great way for you to learn about this is to do it yourself. Try something different, because it will help you as a coach, and you'll attract more people as well. So what I'd say to you is, as a task, find 2 or 3 different methods that you haven't tried before. For me, I didn't do a lot of explosive work in my own training when I was younger, so I was more of a long distance runner. So I thought as an S&C coach, I'm going to flip this around, try something else. I recommend do the same. Put it into your own training. So it's not just reading about it and watching videos on it. Do it yourself. As an S&C coach, you're probably going to need to know a bit about Olympic lifting, for example. If you've never done it, have a go at it. Get someone to coach you. And keep a diary as well. I would keep that diary, reflect on the type of training you've done, what was good about it, what wasn't so good, what have you learned, how can you put that into your own coaching? Okay, so to finish off, what I'd say is, without trying to promote burnout and overworking, you need to stay busy throughout the year, and be consistent, not just the 6 months that you're at university. So I'm not saying during the summer you need to be doing Monday to Sunday, 9 till 5, obsessed with sports science, but if you can squeeze in 8 hours a week during the summer, 6 hours a week, where you're doing stuff that relates to what I've just said, you're making very simple amendments to your routine there. It's not a huge wholesale change in your life and your habits, but just small changes over a long period of time will pay off. You think about it, it's 4 months for 3 years. That's an extra 12 months you can squeeze in your degree where you're keeping busy and doing something. And the reality is, if you don't do it, someone else will. I don't want to put that pressure on, but it's just a reality. The top students that I meet, they're doing extras, and those extras over a period of time will pay off, make you a better graduate, and give you a better chance of getting a career that you want. Okay, so that was my short video on keeping active over the holiday periods. If you'd like more ideas, get in touch, Sports Science Hacks, on Instagram and Twitter at CJThompson90. If you want to learn more about what I did during the summer as well to keep busy, more than happy to chat about that too. Okay, thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you again soon.